Good morning and welcome to everybody. Thank you for joining the latest in our Work Together Anywhere webinar program. This is just one of a series of practical webinars specifically designed to help provide you with the tools and insights to navigate the challenges of the last 10 months or so, and to help you be prepared on a more agile footing to face 2021. So if you've joined us before, welcome back. If this is your first time, then an especially warm welcome. Now, if you've joined this particular webinar, it's because you want to hear more on the topic of digital signage, and I can assure you that we have some really great information to share with you. The panel today will share insights on communication, on digital signage, and how both contribute to a smart and safe workplace with employees, visitors, and customers informed, engaged, productive, and of course, safe. Obviously, the news on the vaccine is very positive, but the purpose of this Work Together Anywhere webinar program has not been to address COVID, but rather to help customers become more agile, more flexible, productive and efficient, whatever the challenges come up, whether that's pandemics, new presidents, trade talks or train strikes, or even bad weather. People and the organisations that they work for are looking for solutions to be kept informed at all times and be part of a better workplace, be that an office, at a venue, at a medical facility, a university, or even at home. To get the most from this session, please submit any questions that you'd like the panel to address. You never know, you may end up changing the preparations the panel have made. And please also take 2 minutes to answer a short survey. And finally, to address similar content, download the session handout. You'll find it on the doc tab about halfway down your menu bar on the right-hand side. Now, this next slide shows what you'll find on the handout. If you're in this webinar to hear the thoughts of customers or employees, then you'll find the Conscious Workplace is a great supplement with data on how people, organisations are thinking and feeling. There are 4 key findings that I can quickly share with you. The number 1 challenge is happiness, motivation and productivity, and legacy workplaces are no longer fit for purpose. And these last 2, particularly relevant for this morning, that communication and workplace practices have changed, and technology can be both an enabler and a blocker. Now, within this guide, there is a webinar under reports to find out more about what management and employees are thinking and how they're feeling. Speaking of webinars, on our webinar hub, you can find details of the latest webinars in the calendar and about 18 on-demand webinars from last year. We have 2 ebooks covering reimagining your workplace and agile and remote working. I think you'll find those useful. Plus, there's additional thought leadership from Rico via Insights, and do get in contact with your account manager or via this email address. All these details are on the session handout. So the next slide will show what the panel is addressing this morning. We're covering several things. Where do you start with communications in a smart and safe workplace? How have internal communications changed? What are the opportunities? What are the latest innovations and solutions? And what is best practice for communication, wayfinding and visitor management? But do feel free to drop in your own questions or simply a point of view on anything you want to hear about. So what are the challenges we are facing? As you can see from this next slide, the last 10 months, there was an immediate need to react to a situation to enable remote working. And over subsequent months, the focus has switched from making do to making better, or as the CBI call it, to build back better. Creating workplaces that are both smart and safe are key to this. Adaptability, agility, flexibility, but obviously no compromise on well-being and productivity. Right now, we see many customers in this reimagine phase, doing the planning they need to do to get the workplace, venue or establishment equipped with the solutions they want over the next few months in order to be stronger as both business and social engagements take off again later this year. So to steer us through this, I'm delighted to have a panel of experts that are going to provide you with a multitude of insights that cover AV communications, digital signage solutions, and while I'm not supposed to have a favourite, it's always immensely valuable to hear from the customer's perspective. So Mark, Jordan, Simon, good morning and welcome. Please introduce yourselves and then it's all yours, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. Good morning, everybody. My name is Mark Priest. So I look after what we call within Rico Communication Services, which is mainly around the communications and audio-visual element of the Rico services that we provide. I'm going to let Jordan and Simon introduce themselves, and then we'll talk a little bit more about what digital signage and communication means. So Jordan, do you want to
Good morning, everybody. So yeah, I'm Jordan Pattison. I'm the sales director for TriplePlay in the UK and Ireland, and we're the manufacturer of software that can deliver digital signage, IPTV and streaming solutions. Over to you, Simon.
Good morning, everybody. Nice to see you all. My name is Simon Nemanellis. I'm the head of technical services for ITC Wales, which is a fairly brand new convention and conference centre based in Newport in South Wales, the Welsh side of the bridge on the M4. We're a brand new conference and convention centre that's opened. My remit is everything that's technical within the venue itself, which also includes the digital signage package that we have and how we use that towards our clients.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. Okay, so obviously this webinar today is about digital signage, and that's what we've got the guys on today to help us explore that a little bit more. Just before we get into the digital signage, I just wanted to, just so everybody understands the role that Rico has within this area. So as I mentioned earlier, Rico has a division which I look after called Communication Services, and that covers a wide range of different areas, but I guess traditionally it would be audio visual, unified communications, digital signage, room booking, wayfinding, stuff like that. Okay, and a lot of these things tie back into the digital signage that we're going to talk to today, because ultimately, clues in the name, it is about communication. And what we try and do with all of our customers that we work with, and I know some of our existing customers are attending the webinar today. Hopefully they can testify to this, is that we will always try and work with our customers on the solution that best fits their requirements. So as a company, we're supplier agnostic. We don't have a favored solution because everybody has different requirements and everybody has different needs. But what we try and do as a company is help our customers be able to explore the different options that are out there, navigate some of the minefields, because it can be a lot to take on, but ultimately help them put together a solution that works for what their needs are, and keep that going in the future. So coming back to communication, which is something that you can apply to almost any part of a business, it's not just about from a technology point. You know, communication, I challenge anybody to disagree that it's by far the most important part of life, if anything, more than not just business. However, when it comes to internal communications, on average, about 60% of businesses don't have a strategy for that. And that's maybe because it becomes a bit of an afterthought. You know, we think about how we're going to talk to our customers, and we think about how we're going to promote ourselves as a business, and we think about how we're going to communicate out to the outside world about what we all do as businesses. But then when it comes to talking to our staff, I guess a lot of people assume that they just know. Why do I need to tell them anything? They just know what we do. They'll go and find out themselves. And you know, you get varying levels of, sometimes you'll have an intranet site where people could go and look for information, or you know, an email will come out once a month from marketing or from a CEO just to say this is what's going on. But you're always relying on the person receiving that message or receiving that email to take it upon themselves to read and understand it. And that's sometimes where you get a disconnect. And a lot of people, that's, as far as they're concerned, that's enough. So signage and communication around the workplace can take on a lot of different forms, and without proper planning around it, it can fail spectacularly. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is just to explore what options there are for businesses to be able to communicate more effectively, but also show some things that people maybe don't think of. It's very easy to think of digital signage as, well, it's a screen when I walk into reception, but actually it's a lot more than that, and it can be a lot more than that. And some of the bits on it, there's a couple of images that we found here, which, although they're, you know, humorous, they do actually, you know, they do resonate quite a lot. You know, it's very easy to send messages down the chain, and by the end of it, it's completely wrong. And you know, and if you don't talk to each other at the beginning of a journey, it's very you know, it's not much chance you're going to meet in the middle. So yeah, that's what we'll talk about today. So can we go to the next slide, Kat, please? So some of the different things that might resonate in regards to where would I consider the best place to put some sort of internal communications, and the obvious ones sort of pop in, well, reception as I walk in, or you know, maybe IPTV, so people can have, you know, the BBC News running, and then a ticker with the weather, and maybe give them some tube travel so they know what's going on with the trains before they leave and stuff like that. But you'll notice on here there's some other parts that it can be useful that sometimes don't think of, such as recruitment or social media events, or just being able to promote internally different promotions that the company might be running. But using the different technologies that we have, and this is what Jordan's going to talk about in a bit more detail, as I said before, it's much more than just expecting people to look at a screen that's on the wall, because all you're doing then is replacing the email with a screen. You've still got no way of being able to push that message out and capture the audience that you've got. As well as being able to distribute the message statewide, we're also able to look at how we target specific messages to different individuals, sometimes via their laptops, mobiles, tablets, not necessarily the traditional screen on the wall. So I'll hand over to Jordan, who's going to take you through some more of the technicalities, a little bit more of the features and benefits of TriplePlay. And just before I do that, and let me just introduce TriplePlay. So TriplePlay have been probably one of the longest partners that we've had at Ricoh. For probably kicking 6 to 8 years, we've had TriplePlay as a partner now. And the main reason that we've had them as such a long partner is, A, because the solutions that they provide have stood the test of time. They're really good with what they provide, and they are constantly evolving to make sure that they keep up with what the market needs. And they're also very close within the Ricoh family and how we work together. So I'll hand over to Jordan now. He can tell you more about some of the things that TriplePlay can do. And then once he's done, we'll come back and we'll have a chat get some first-hand experience from Simon on how it's been working at ICC. And Jordan?
Lovely. Thanks for that, Mark. And there's one actually missing on there as well, which is Employee of the Month, which you can get on digital signage, which I'm sure you pick up every single month at Ricoh, Mark, I'm certain. So yes, guys, I've been looking after TriplePlay's UK interests for 7 years. As a business, we've been around for 20 years. We're a global organisation headquartered in central London, big development office down in Poole, Dorset. And why are we called TriplePlay? Well, we deliver 3 core services from one single platform. So when any organisation requires digital signage content, as in their own content, on a piece of glass within a building, then that is essentially what we can do. But we can also deliver the second in our portfolio, which is IPTV, which is essentially the delivery of television within digital signage or by itself as a standalone product. And that's not just television as in BBC News, that is town hall addresses, it is live streams, it's a hotel having a camera on the roof with a live weather channel for someone sat in bed. The third in our portfolio is video streaming. And if anybody, I'm sure all of you are familiar with logging on to Netflix, Amazon Prime, BBC iPlayer, YouTube, and essentially that is the same service we offer, but for businesses in a secure manner. So they can deliver engaging content to people's mobile phones, tablets, desktops. So ultimately, as people are now changing their behavior in terms of where they're working from, are they working from home? I'm just getting a little office shed built right now in my garden. Then things are changing, and we have got technology that can keep pace with that and keep everybody agile. Essentially what it means is that we're here to talk about digital signage today, but what it really means is our technology offers a full communication platform for any business or organization. And in a second, you're about to see a video, and it's going to be a walkthrough of a typical corporate client of TriplePlay who utilizes our entire portfolio. But keep in mind, as we're going through this video, this could just as easily be the ICC Wales, it could be a hospital, it could be a university, it could be retail, it could be a hotel, it could be a military base, it could be absolutely anything. So Catherine, if you want to play that video now, and I'll explain some of the features as we're going through it. So first thing you're going to see, we've walked into the council building, into the corporate. Yes, you've got your screen in reception, so integrated digital signage and IPTV, very good for welcoming visitors. That also reduces perceived dwell time, so if people are coming into your building, you give them some dynamic, engaging content, it reduces that time that they feel like they're waiting. We now go to the interactive element of digital signage. So yes, it can be fully touch enabled and interactive. Again, superb for visitor management. Think about wayfinding. We can even go so far as integrating into intelligent building management systems that can tell you the humidity and temperature around the building. The next thing you're going to see is multi-view. So we can now monitor the world news alongside COVID information, alongside digital signage, all on one screen. We've got integration there into social media. So again, it's hands-free. Nobody has to touch the digital signage. It's pulling in live data, live sources at any one time. There's a multitude of hardware options to deliver it. And then this is the big one we saw in 2020. We've got the ability to distribute content to desktops, mobile phones, tablets. So think about how people are now distributing town hall addresses, live streams, training videos, health and safety, marketing communications, television, all with the compliance. So it audits who's interacting, and if it's a health and safety video, it'll even tell you if somebody's watched it in full. So perfect for compliance measures. We're now in the meeting room space where we can display meeting room booking information. We've got IPTV portal, so you can have a breakout room for staff training or employee training. And we can even collaborate with wireless conference and collaboration tools as well. So once you finish doing that, it falls back to the digital signage. There's a mobile device. So now we can engage with employees, with staff, with visitors, with guests on their own terms, on their own device. And that means you can deliver absolutely any piece of content, whether it's a live stream. And just think about how we've done that in manufacturing, retail, hospitality, where employees sometimes don't even have a business email address. How do they feel engaged with that business? How are they getting the correct resources and information? How are they getting the correct training? Well, our solution allows you to deliver that as a business. So hopefully that's a nice overview of what the TriplePlay product and portfolio can offer for any business. So if we go on to the next slide, Catherine, we're going to talk about the essence of digital communication. So move it on again, please, Catherine. And what you'll see here is the old adage. And honestly, look, we are genetically programmed. This is scientifically been proven by studies. We are genetically programmed to respond to movement. So as caveman, cavewoman times, you come out of your cave, you see some movement, and you either run towards it to go eat it, or you run away because it's going to eat you. And what that's really referencing is the fact that we are 82% more likely to absorb, ingest, and retain information if there is video content or movement on a screen. That is scientifically proven. That is why television adverts cost a lot more than printed adverts. That's why Coca-Cola will spend £10 million on an advert for the Super Bowl. In fact, I'll give you a real world example. In fact, this could be quite interesting for you, Simon, as well. We deployed our solution to an arena, and they had Russell Brand doing a comedy gig a couple of years ago. This was the first week we deployed our digital signage and streaming solution. And their biggest seller in the kiosks and the food and beverage and the catering was a pizza slice. Roll on a couple of years, and they decided to do a test. They had Russell Brand playing again, exactly the same demographic, exactly the same average spend via that demographic, and all they did was change a picture of a pizza slice to a video of a pizza slice. So the cheese is bubbling, the steam coming off it. Because that elicits a sensory experience, they saw a 43% increase in pizza size sales during that event. So the proof is in the pudding. Whereas a lot of people can use it, and Simon might want to use it to influence people to spend more money, and it can be used by any organization. The technology is there to be used by any organization to engage and empower the people that are going to be looking and engaging with that business. So if we move it on again, please, Catherine. Where do you start with digital signage? Well, strategically, there's a really key place to start. And we've seen this fail many, many times where an IT team might go off and decide to purchase a digital signage. They plonk it on a marketing comms team, and the marketing comms team go, we don't have time for this. We've had no input in this. We haven't got time for this. You manage it. And we've seen it the other way around, where a marketing communications team might go off and buy a digital signage platform, but the due diligence in terms of security, reliability, robustness, the control that sits behind it has not been in place. So the best way to deploy these types of technologies, have IT become the superpower users who monitor the health of the solution and make sure it's all running and healthy, and have a marketing comms team control the look and feel and content of the screens, because ultimately, as Mark said, it is a communications tool. The majority of technologies that we see out there, and I'm talking about competitors and other technologies as well, what we find out there is that they are designed by very, very technical people, have to be, but they're designed for very, very technical people to have to operate them and use them. Where we've stood out is we've designed, as is designed by very technical people as well, but we've designed it with the end user in mind in terms of that marketing comms team. So we've tried to make life as easy as possible in terms of how you manage and operate a solution and platform like this, which is often an afterthought with normal digital signage deployments. So if we go on to the next slide, I'll give you a nice little example of that. So you can imagine if we play this little video here, you've got a marketing team. They don't need to learn about the infrastructure, the architecture. They are literally just dragging and dropping digital media assets onto what we call a digital signage layout editor. Drag and drop. You don't need to understand aspect ratios. It takes care of all of that for you. You create the look and feel of your screens. You click submit, and that's now being deployed to 100 screens in an arena. So ease of use for the people who will leverage the platform best, as in marketing communications teams, is absolutely the essence of what we do. So if we move on to the next one, I'll show you how we make it easy for IT teams and IT managers who maybe want to administer the platform. So look, we've even got things like this. So Simon could be sat at home in his PJs with a chocolate croissant and an orange juice. And if he's now got a responsibility to turn all those screens on, or turn them off, or change the TV channel, or mute them, or put them at a certain volume, then he can do that remotely using a mobile phone or tablet. So we try to make the platform as feature rich as possible, but where we thought about who is going to be using and managing it, we've designed all of the platform to make it as easy as possible for anybody to manage and operate and get content from A to B. So next slide, please, Catherine. This is a good place to start for marketing teams. This is what you call the classic LWRAP or UWRAP. And what I'm referring to there is a scrolling ticker at the bottom, content on the left or right hand side of the screen with the bulk of the window with television or video content. There is a reason BBC News, Sky Sports News in particular, go for this, because studies have shown it's a very effective way to distribute multiple pieces of content and deliver multiple messages at the same time. And it also means as a marketing team, you can set that up and you never have to worry about it again, because the RSS feed at the bottom has got live dynamic transport information. The content on the left-hand side is an events calendar pulled in from one of your calendars, and you've got TV on the right-hand side. Doesn't matter, once you set that up, no one ever has to touch it again, and it will always have live dynamic information. So nobody's having to log into TriplePlay every single day and update digital signage content. So that is a very, very effective way, and we see that in about 90% of our digital signage deployments, having the classic branded LWRAP. So not only is it easy to brand, it's dynamic, it's live, it's always got relevant information on, so it's never stagnates or is stale. And it also means you can create your own in-house sort of TV channel as experience. At TriplePlay, we have our own version of this. Sometimes it pops up with breaking news at the bottom. And if our marketing team are having a laugh, it'll say chocolate hobnobs, new chocolate hobnobs in the cupboard. So yeah, you can create some quite amusing experiences with it as well. And we have got a client, private healthcare organisation, who have used digital signage as a way to attract millennials in recruitment. So they're fighting it out with your Googles, your Facebooks to attract the best of the best in terms of millennials. What they found is that by having digital signage content around the offices, it makes the office feel modern, dynamic and agile, and it's helped them in terms of recruitment as well. So if we move on to the next one, please, Catherine. Now, TriplePlay's software releases, always named after cartoon characters. The current release is Captain Caveman. What did Caveman do? He invented quite a lot of things, tools, fire, things like that. What we've done at TriplePlay is done exactly the same. We are always moving. Software development is very, very fast paced. So you can see some of the things we've done here. Top left-hand corner, you've got multi-view. So we've got organizations now who have got offices all over the world, but they want to be able to monitor what is happening globally. So they can put the world news on one screen and watch it very, very simply and easily. Over on the bottom left-hand side, right in the corner, you've got virtual remotes. So no longer does anybody have to go pick up a physical remote and you don't know who's touched that remote before you. You can pair your device and you can use your own mobile phone your own tablet to change television, change volume without ever having to touch anything, which works for administrators of the system or somebody who's just sat in front of the screen who needs to change TV channel. And then one that's been very significant is the one right in the middle at the bottom. That is an integration with what we call occupancy management. So a small sensor is activated and it sets thresholds on the system, which tells you how busy an area is. So if you're about to walk into the corporate canteen, before you've walked through those doors, with a traffic light system, it's telling you if that canteen is super busy and it's at 90% capacity and you won't be able to maintain social distancing. All of that is done fully automated using a traffic light and threshold system. And in the bottom right hand corner, you can see we can now deliver content, live streams that can blur people's faces so you can be GDPR compliant. And it tells you can just have a look up at a screen and see how busy the corporate gym, the canteen, the kiosk area is. It can all be done. We can get any content where you need it to go. So next slide, please. So this is quite an interesting one. I thought I'll give you a real world scenario, something that happened to TriplePlay and myself. So this was back in 2016, believe it or not. I was about to head out to a demo to a big US bank. And as I was walking out the door, I looked up at the digital signage screens in our offices back in 2016, and I saw a list on the right-hand side that said new TriplePlay customers. The client I was just about to go see, unbeknownst to me if I'd have walked out that door, had actually just signed a global agreement with TriplePlay out in the US and in Europe. So I was able to go into that meeting and mention that, and what they said at the time is we were evaluating 5 platforms. And at that time, they said, all right, well, we've already got a standard. It's already been signed off by head office, so that you just saved us 3 months worth of work. So they selected us and we rolled out in the UK. On the back of that significant rollout, we were able to hire 2 new employees to work on the digital signage platform. So you can see how just me looking up at one screen for 5 seconds has actually affected things within our own business. So next slide, please. So why is all this relevant? Well, what we've seen is that businesses need technologies that will keep them agile and dynamic. And Mark, I alluded to it at the start. This isn't just COVID. This is war. It's aliens landing, England winning the World Cup. Businesses need technologies that can adapt and make sure that they are agile and dynamic as they're delivering content. As an example, if Boris Johnson came on TV and changed social distancing from 2 meters to 4 meters, you would be able to affect that on 1,000 screens around the UK in less than 30 seconds using our system. So that's how it keeps people agile. You'll see right at the bottom of that little list as well, I've talked about some of the other ones, the occupancy management. We do have the work from home package as well. So now, how do people deliver health and safety training videos to employees who are not inside an office, not inside a building? Well, it's no worries, because the exact same system that is delivering your digital signage content can deliver all of that content to any employee, guest or visitor's mobile phone, tablet, with all of the compliance measures that you could possibly need. So it's reporting who's engaging with it, and it's reporting, yeah, if it's health and safety or training document, if they've actually clicked on it and if they've actually read that as well. So really, really important way to distribute communications. Next slide, please. So yeah, TriplePlay as a business, I'll say we've been going for 20 years. And the beauty of having a diverse client base like this, and you can see we've successfully deployed our technology alongside Ricoh in a multitude of sectors. And what this has really led to is what we call, and I invented this term, so I quite like this one, I'm going to use this one again, cross-pollination of innovation. Now, what I mean by that is, I'll give you some great examples. If you Google digital signage fails, there's a Twitter account, a LinkedIn account, and you will see examples where disgruntled employees have logged into a business's digital signage and left some obscene or very select pieces of information on the screen. Using our solution, we've put in workflow management, so that never occurs because somebody has to approve the content before it goes live. We did that for corporate, but everybody uses that in sports stadiums, public sector as well. On the other side, on the flip side, apologies if there's any Arsenal fans on this webinar, but if Harry Kane scores at Tottenham, they click the Harry Kane button, all the screens trigger a goal animation. But guess what? we now deliver that to all of the other sectors. So you've got government buildings who click a button and it informs the staff when the ice cream man's in the car park. Facilities manager triggering fire alarms. That is essentially how we work. We get pulled in lots of different directions by some very high profile clients, and that benefits every single person who goes down the TriplePlay route for digital signage or IPTV. I was proud enough to be involved in another one of our high profile clients and deployments, and you're going to find out more about that now from Mark and Simon at ICC Wales. Back to you, Mark.
Thanks, Jordan. Brilliant. Thanks for taking the time out today to take us through that. And I think, any of you listening, I'm sure everybody who's on the call has got different varying experiences of what digital signage can do. Maybe some of you have got no experience of it. Maybe some have been, using it for a while. But I think some of just a very small snapshot there of what Jordan's took us through just highlights so many different options that you've got, so many different solutions that potentially you can have. And just a reminder that you've got the option there to ask questions today if you need to. We're going to have time at the end to be able to go through any questions that you might have directly with Jordan and myself if you want to, and with Simon as well. There might be something that we talk about that you want to ask Simon about. But in the meantime, while you're having to think about any questions that you might be asking, we've got a one-on-one question session with Simon here, very, very kindly given up some time out of his day today to help us with this webinar. So thank you, Simon, for taking your time today. So look, let's, can you give us an insight, just for anybody on the call that isn't aware, just a very, very brief overview of what the ICC was built for and why it was developed and what it's for, and what drove the business to start looking at digital signage solutions.
Thank you, Mark. ICC Wales has been conceived probably over the last 10 to 15 years by Sir Terry Matthews, who actually is the chairman of the Celtic Manor Collective, which includes the Celtic Manor Resort and a number of other hotels and businesses which are in the hospitality, catering and conference and exhibition sector. So Terry realised that Wales really needed a business hub that included a large conference and convention centre, because Wales at that time didn't have such a facility. So thanks to his foresight and the work of hard work of a lot of people, including our partnership with the Welsh Assembly Government, which has been very, very important, we've now built and opened in September of 2019 a brand new convention and conference centre, which includes a 4,000 square metre exhibition hall, which is the largest pillarless ballroom in Europe because it's fully carpeted and it looks pretty. There are several large meeting rooms, there are smaller meeting rooms, there is a 1,500 seater auditoria, which is a fully kitted out auditoria with all the AV toys and trinkets that you would imagine. Plus we have business centres, we have a large welcoming atrium as we come in. So all these kind of facilities you need a kind of direction, and this is what clients really are looking for at the moment when they come and speak to us about hosting their event, because a lot of clients want two main things. They want the ability to be able to communicate information to their guests, their clients, their attendees, and that for them is the key thing, and making sure that information is current and is purposeful, it's kept up to date. In the olden times, if you like, it was often a case of flip charts and written pieces of paper, blue tack to doors, or you would have hosts that would go around. But again, if you have a large venue as we have, which is a 20,000 square meter area, you'd have to have 25, 30 hosts, and not all those hosts would be fully engaged in what the current information strands would be. This is where the current information in digital platforms and the current experience that we have has come into play, which is why we've looked at going along this route. So ICC Wales has 84 separate screens all around the entire footprint of the site. We have a large 7 meter long by 4 meter wide LED screen on the wall, as clients come into the main entrance. So as they come to the main entrance, it's the first thing you see. You can't miss it. Plus, we have mobile screens which can be moved around and placed anywhere where we need them to be. And using the digital platform of TriplePlay, which we've adopted, and our partners with Ricoh as well, which we work very closely with, we're now able to take the client's information, any information they want, and instantly send it to any one of these screens. The same content can be sent to every single screen, or we can take each separate screen and send a separate piece of information to that particular screen. And that information can be anything, whatever the client wants. It can be information on what the conference's agenda is for that day, information on travel, so buses to hotels, weather, news information. Obviously, we're looking at if there is any kind of emergency situation. So as we discussed previously, if there is an emergency situation within the building, we can offer waypointers to make sure that our customers can reach safe areas or get out of the building safely. So again, that helps with digital signage. It's regards as well to thinking about what we're doing with regards to changing that information quickly. And I think this is where TriplePlay really comes into its own. As we discussed earlier, often with certain digital platforms, you have to have a marketing team and a graphics team, and they have to create the content, and then that gets uploaded to the screen. The beauty of digital play is that TriplePlay is that we have that department who do create content, but they upload and can create the things to send to people like me. But because I'm on super user level, I have the final say as to what goes where. But the beauty of it is if the client then at the 11th hour says, oh, I really need to change the information because this speaker is late, or we have too many people in this room and the catering, we've put the catering in the second room, we need to send some of our delegates to a second room, I can instantly go online and easily change any of the slides or the information and then send that information instantly to the screen that relates to that particular area. So about customer flow and about the flow of people, it makes everything so much quicker, so much slicker, and so much easier. Add to that then the corporate branding, which is also an important part of what a client's requirements are. We did the UK Space Conference last year, and with them, we designed a full animation package. So all the screens all looked the same. It had a rolling planet with the stars behind, and then all the information morphed around to be able to show people directions to go, what was in each room, what was actually happening within each seminar within each room. All this was valuable information for the clients to be able to quickly ascertain what they needed to do, where they needed to go, get to the right seminar. The event then runs a lot smoother, and therefore the client is much happier. Obviously, then, if you add in now the COVID situation, we're now looking at the ability to be able to actually map where the footfall is, where clients are actually going to, and making sure that the rooms are socially distanced. So again, as Jordan was talking about earlier, having sensors on doors, being able to tell people, okay, this room currently is not crowded, so we're okay. But as soon as we reach a limit, the signage above those doors will then change to say, please go to second room, and we can then direct the flow of our delegates, of our clients' delegates, to a secondary room. So it's all about speed of use, it's all about the easiness of actually using the system itself, and it's all about the quick turnover of information, because that really is the key in the conference and convention center. If you have information that is an hour out of date, it becomes obsolete. Clients, particularly in this digital day and age, expect a certain level of communication transfer that is, if not instant, it's certainly almost immediate, so that therefore that their events can run smoothly, and therefore then their customers, their clients, and their delegates are happy.
Yeah, great. Thanks for that overview, Simon. That's really fantastic insight into how you're using it, from a user's perspective, which sometimes we don't get that. Sometimes we talk about it from what we do, and also how people the partners that we work with, their products, but to get a real insight from a user is fantastic. I mean, one thing that I find makes some people nervous, particularly when they're looking at a new technology, something they haven't used before, is how it's going to affect them in their job. So they kind of see the benefits of it, but worry that maybe, oh, I've got a load more work I'm going to have to do and stuff like that. So from yourself as an IT professional and from your marketing professionals and that you've got around the business, what sort of feedback would you have around the actual effect on your job, day-to-day job, using a platform like TriplePlay?
Well, the beauty that TriplePlay has is it has this these levels of responsibility that can be set up within the system. So you can literally have the communications and marketing department create the necessary content for a client, which would include the branding of the client if that's what they require. They can then upload that to the server. At that point, I don't have to touch any of this. What I can do then is the client will then say to me, okay, so in meeting room 1, we're having this session at this time, this session this time, and this session at this time. So this content needs to go to those screens. And they will give me an overview of what they want, what content they want to go to which screens. I can then look at the content. I can actually then look through it and say, send it to the client and say, happy with this. They check it all off. They then sign it off and say they were happy. And then I can then literally pre-program the event before the event happens itself. It doesn't have to be live. I can do it a month in advance, 2 months in advance. I can literally set it up on the TriplePlay server itself and say, okay, on this day, at this time, I want you to switch these screens on, and this is the content I want to show on these screens. And then at this time, I want you to change the content and do it to these screens. And the beauty of it is, as well, from my point of view, as Jordan spoke earlier in his presentation, if we get a last-minute change and I don't happen to be in work, that is not a problem, because I can log on from anywhere in the world and I can do the changes to the server that I need to do from anywhere. It can be from home, it can be from a meeting in another office, it can be from another part of the site. Also, I can give a certain level of user access to one of my staff. So if I am incredibly busy, my staff are also trained in how to use TriplePlay. I can then say, oh, can you do me a favor? Send them a message, can you do me a favor? Client has asked for meeting room 2 now to be changed, time to be changed from a 9 o'clock to a 9:30 start. Can you change the display above that room? They can then use their own logon, which is for their own access to be able to do that. And they have a certain level that they can change. So they can't, you were talking earlier about disgruntled employees, not that we have any of those at all, they're all fantastic, but you do have a level where you can sort of say to people, okay, this is what you can control, but everything outside that, we don't allow you to access that. So I'm the only super level user currently within ICC Wales. So I have full access to everything. I can switch things on, switch things off, change things around, take screens, move them, address them, all those kind of things. But my staff can easily upload content, change the actual programming, change the times, all those kind of things. My IT department, the IT department are constantly monitoring the system. So they're looking after the infrastructure to make sure that everything is connected, talking to each other. And again, if there are any problems, because they have access to the TriplePlay server, and if there are any issues, the server will alert them if there are any problems. They can see that straight away, they can deal with it straight away. So you're saying about, yes, having 84 screens plus additional screens plus a large video screen can increase your workload. The beauty of TriplePlay, the fact that it's so easy to use, actually helps your workflow because you can delegate easily and you can access it easily from anywhere in the world.
Brilliant. That's exactly that's perfectly summarized there, Simon. I think that's and that's a big thing that people miss. It's really easy to it's really easy to get caught up in what things do and not think about how it's going to affect you on a day-to-day basis. And I think the initial reaction some people have is that it's going to create more work for them, or actually it's going to help them and make their work life easier. So thank you for your time on that, Simon. For any of you that don't know, that the ICC Wales Centre is a fantastic build. It's a fantastic facility. I remember years ago when it was just being spoken about. And now I remember the first time I drove down and saw it up on the hill, and it's a great build, and obviously it's connected to the Celtic Manor Resort, which is a fantastic place as well that complements it. So look, thank you very much for your time there, Simon. So we've got some questions. Let's look at what we're doing. I'm managing the Q&A panel today, which is new for me. So let's just have a look at what we've got here. So I think Simon, most of these are going to, sorry, Jordan, I think most of these are going to be for you. So Jordan, somebody's asking, what are the pitfalls to avoid with digital signage?
Okay, well, there is there's a very obvious one, a black screen. So digital signage, if there's a failure, you've got a black screen. That is the worst crime you can commit in digital signage. Obviously, using what we do, we try to avoid that by having a playlist. So it's always playing content. But should there be a connectivity failure, we have local redundancy. So there's some content that you set up, and it's locally cached in the screen or on the set-top box device that sits behind the screen. Should that box start screaming saying, I can't connect anymore and download content, it's fine, because it plays whatever is being assigned to that box in the event of a failure. So like the old TV, we are experiencing technical difficulties. We'll be back in a minute. You can achieve the exact same thing, or you can just have video content or logos playing so nobody even knows that there's anything going wrong. So yeah, that's one of the pitfalls. The other one, we've already alluded to it, is that control. So many digital signage platforms that are out there that do not have the correct control mechanisms. So yeah, a disgruntled employee or somebody who's logged into the system will start to put abusive messages on the screen. There's a really famous one, I won't name them, but there was a bank who had 200 screens across the UK, and they made somebody redundant, and on the last day of redundancy they logged in and left some messages all aimed at the CEO and shareholders on 200 screens that were in shopfront windows on all the high streets of the UK. I think it even got on BBC News that day as well. So yeah, we've certainly got tools within the platform. We've thought about who might be using it to facilitate and prevent any of those issues.
Brilliant, thanks, Jordan. Okay, next question, simple one. Do I need an IPTV license?
Not if you. So basically, for television, really straightforward. So if you're doing television, you obviously need some software from us to deliver the IPTV, and you just need whatever TV license. So if you go in Sky Sports, you'll need a subscription to Sky. If it's just free to air terrestrial, no, you don't need anything. You just need the software from us to be able to deliver it.
I think maybe they might be asking, do they need a BBC, a government TV license to play IPTV?
Yeah, they'll need one of them. They'll need one of them, but there isn't a commercial version, so it's the same as me and you have in your own home, providing you pay it.
Cool. Okay. Somebody's written, I'm worried about resources to keep my content fresh and up to date. Is it a quick process? I think we might have covered that, but I think, just to reassure them, Jordan, I think if you want to just...
well, obviously our marketing team hardly ever touch our system. So we point it at live television, we point it at RSS feeds, internal calendars, KPIs, and it just pulls in from those resources without anyone having to touch it. So it's always got live dynamic information on the screen. But then if you do need to interface into it, we have designed something called Quick Drop. And if you ever wanted to see a demo of this, say for example, going back to my example of Boris Johnson changing from 2 meters to 4 meters, I could show you in demonstration how I could change, if you wanted 20,000 screens across the globe, in less than 10 seconds. When I demo this, I can demo it in 2 to 3 seconds, but it's designed to be done in 10 seconds. So yeah, quick changes. We use something called Quick Drop, and yeah, you can see that on our website. It's quite a powerful tool.
Yeah, I think actually talking about the change in distances, I won't mention them, but I remember way back in March talking to a customer that I was dealing with about digital signage, and I was explaining, look, you're going to be able to put instructions up, you're going to be able to tell people what to do, you're going to be able to remind them about that. And they went, well, yeah, I think I see the plan, but I think for now, because we're not sure what's going on, we're just going to get some posters printed and we'll get some tape printed, and it all said 2 meters, 2 meters. And then I remember about a week later they changed it to 1 meter, and I had him on a call, and he just looked sick. He's just like, I can't believe I just doing that. So and I think probably going forward, even the vaccine's rolling out, I think people will get back into the office at some point, but I think the kind of instructions that we all see now, whenever you go anywhere now, although you're not allowed to, but when you do, you're just faced with instructions: do this, do this, do this, do this. I don't think that's going to go away for a long time. I think we're going to constantly be told to do things, and those things are going to constantly change. So I think swapping out a poster or a tape or something like that for a digital signage option is definitely something to consider. Right, we've got one more question because we're good for time. So is there a preferred screen or monitor that is required to run this system?
No. So
No.
our solution will, we can deploy it to any screen. We're agnostic with screens. It would be more for Mark, for your team to sort of advise what is the best screen and hardware to deliver this technology. The beauty of what we do is we're software. So unlike a lot of companies out there, we don't manufacture a little box and say, right, there you go, you've got to buy our box. This is the only way this can be deployed. We have opened this up, so you've got options. So if you wanted to leverage existing screen infrastructure, you can buy a multitude of various different hardware devices, set-top boxes, so you don't have to go out and buy hundreds of new screens. And then when you do go out and buy hundreds of new screens, Mark can advise you on the system on chip screens, where instead of a box behind a screen, you've just got a screen on the wall. So lots and lots of options. We're just a software company, so we can deploy to a vast array and plethora of different hardware devices. But yeah, that would be more for you when you do your site surveys, Mark.
Yeah, so it's, and as I said at the beginning, you know, one thing that to be honest does make my job easier is that because we have access to pretty much every manufacturer in the AV world, you know, for whatever reason, sometimes I get people saying, look, well, I just prefer Samsung. You know, no reason, that's just the screen manufacturer they prefer. You know, and it works, and some of those companies do have a built-in media player to them, a system on chip they call it, but then the ones that don't, we have external media players that will work. So it's very, very easy thing to deploy. It's not a difficult thing at all. Right, that looks like that's all the questions that we've got. Oh, hang on, one more. I think we've got 2 minutes to ask one more. Right. Who would the end user be contracted to, TriplePlay or Ricoh? Can you let us know what benefits Ricoh bring? Okay, well, I'll answer that one. So TriplePlay are a partner of Ricoh, and they don't transact directly with any end user. They provide the license, they provide the service, but in terms of the financial interactions and the service interaction, that is through Ricoh. In terms of the benefit that Ricoh can bring to that, so there's a couple of things from a commercial perspective. Because of the partnership that we've got with TriplePlay, and the scope that we've got across different manufacturers and suppliers, probably the biggest factor that would affect somebody's decision is the pricing that we can get from different suppliers. So we're always able to match or be cheaper than most of the competitors out there because of the nature of the relationship that we have and the tiering that we have, and gold standard, platinum partners, that sort of stuff. I think outside of the commercial element of it, as I was saying before, we've got a wide range of solutions that can be specific to what you want to do around digital signage, for example, different screens, platforms, installation services that we have as well. But also it can be part of a bigger project. So it may be that somebody is looking to you know, upgrade their meeting rooms to Teams environments, and actually while they're doing that, there becomes a requirement for digital signage within the workplace. And you know, we can provide that end-to-end solution where we can go right to the very beginning, where a lot of the time people that we talk to have not really got an idea. They know what the problem is, but they don't necessarily know what the solution is, and we can help them work with that. We have our architects that can come in and look from a technical perspective what can and can't work in those different environments. We can procure the hardware and software for you, install everything with our team of engineers, and then run that right through to a remote support, managed service, whatever it might be, on-site support. But very much from Ricoh, you know, we like to make sure that you're getting an end-to-end service with all of our customers. And for those of you that are on the call that are customers of ours, I think they can probably contest to that we will look after our customers as best we can and ride with them on the, you know, the ups and downs that we do get. But you know, the idea is that we work with you all the way through. Okay, that's all the questions. I just want to say again, Simon, thanks for giving up your time today. Really, really great insight from your perspective on there, which is good to see. Jordan, again, thank you for your time as always. Fantastic delivery of what you do at TriplePlay, and I think it's certainly given people food for thought. Mark, at the beginning, thank you for your time on that. And then the person that we keep saying, thanks, Catherine, thanks, Kat. you haven't seen her on camera today, but the whole thing wouldn't work unless Catherine did what she does. So thank you, Catherine, for your help on that. As Mark mentioned at the beginning, there's a handout document attached to this presentation. Please have a look at it, have a read of it. If you've got any questions on there, it's going to show you the right way to go to find out the answers and get in contact with us. And then obviously we've got our Rico UK and Ireland website as well that you can visit. So I hope you all got something out of today. You know, again, if there's any questions that come up later on, the document will be able to tell you how to get in touch with us. But thank you very much for your time. Thank you everybody from the call, and keep safe. Speak with you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.